So I'm just going to quickly go over the two trades that I made money on today. That would be gold and US30. So taking everything off the chart, you go to the 4 hour. For one, we were immediately to the left. So we had support, 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 again and again. But the main thing that made me want to buy today was the fact that we came out of this trend line that has been respected from here. So we got a bounce here, a bounce here, was respected here and here, and then all of a sudden we're outside of it. On top of that, 4 hour, previous 4 hour close as an engulfing and on a level of support that has been respected again and again. So all right, cool. I go down to the 1 minute, which I never do until like last week. And so I take one trade here and I'm like, okay, cool, it's a retracement, but I'm not gonna exit until it like breaks below this level if it does. So I plotted my counter trend line after I had this little bounce. I was like, cool. It's after 9:30, so I do expect some volatility that would make sense. Price started going sideways here, here. It wasn't until I don't remember when I entered the second one, but to be like extra safe, I learned this from the previous mentor that I just bought the course from. After you make a break outside of the counter trend line, not only, you're not just waiting for a counter trend line to break, but you're also waiting for that first resistance to be broken right there. So once that happened, I was like, all right, cool. I'm safe. Stop loss below here. And then kind of just trailed my stops. And I saw this coming a little bit low. I was like, you know what? I'm very pleased with today's profit. Made about $200. So I was like, all right, let me just get out the trade. But had I held, I'd have been up nicely. So that's that on gold. For US30, previous weekly, I do think overall in the weekly time frame, we could close as a bullish weekly candle. The previous daily candle was a doji week, looking like the next candle potentially could go bearish. Then the 4 hour. So this is where, because we did break out of, well, it's just kind of like a messy trend line, but a trend line nonetheless. So at first I was like, oh, I want to get into some buys. And I wanted to get into buys like before 9:30. But again and again, I am reminded of the lesson to not, because you're always going to get more than likely a better move at or after 9:30. So you might as well just wait. But when I saw the 4 hour candle wick like that, I said, nah, I think on top of you looking directly to the left, you have resistance here, zoom out more, very powerful levels on the 4 hour. So I was all right, cool. I'm jumped down to the 1 minute. Would have been making even more of a bag if I held, but I don't even care. I put my take profit right here, and I just went to go shower because I was like, I feel nerves. I'm about to start sweating. But I was only risking like $15, right? So when price came up here and gave me this big candle, this big bearish candle, I said, okay, maybe it will actually break out of this counter trend line, right? Because this counter trend line that I have, you see, it goes from here and then it goes to here. So we had this, a little initial pop out, and I was like, let me go ahead and put a support right here. And if it breaks, I'll enter in. Then we had this higher low, right? But what really did it for me was seeing this little transition. We have a support created. Then we have, boom, a bearish candle. And on top of that, another bearish candle. So after I saw these, like, I know where we are on the 4 hour. And this is also a lower high. And it's making sense with the counter trend line that I just plotted. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna get into some sells. And when it made a new resistance, I would just like edit my stop loss so that I could go shower and not worry about losing a big amount. At this point, when my stop was right here, I'm only using a 0.01. I was only risking $15, right? $15 to make around 80 right here. I was like, I don't want it to come down here and shoot back up. So I'm gonna just keep it safe, keep it right here. I'm fine with my profits. Um, so that's how I ended up getting that. So if I was still in this trade, oh my God. But I'm walking away with 300 today, and that is more than I'm used to when it comes to trading Forex. So I'm fine. But yeah, those are how I got my 2 wins for today. All right. Let's have a really great retrading.